I guess it started when I was in high school because I went to Philippine Science High School here in Diliman in Quezon City. And there we were really, our love for the sciences, no, math sciences, no, it was really nurtured. And during my stay there, I figured that I wanted to get into a biology course. Okay? Not because I wanted to become a scientist, but because I thought of it as becoming a pre-med course for me to pursue medicine, no, after I finished my undergrad degree. But when I was in college, I worked on an antibody on a project, no, that was mainly focused on designing an antibody and expressing an antibody that would specifically target breast cancer cells. And it was during my thesis work here at the National Institute of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology that I discovered that I really enjoyed my time in the lab doing experiments. In fact, I enjoyed it even more than going to class. So I would really spend a lot of time in the lab, and sometimes I would even skip my classes, no, just to do the experiments. And I was very excited about getting the data, getting the data after an experiment, looking forward to the outcome of my experiments. And then that's when I figured that this was something that I wanted to do. Fortunately, my experience of doing research or science generally here in the Philippines has been very pleasant. The Philippines is very lucky in that women play a very prominent role in the life sciences, no, in biology, in marine science, in molecular biology, and there's probably an equal number of men and women scientists in the field. I think here in UP, it's even dominated by women. But that's a stark contrast to what's happening in first world countries such as in the US. So I worked in the US. I worked in Boston University for like 2.5 years before I went to grad school at University of Michigan. And I stayed in Michigan for a total of 9 years, 7 years of PhD and then 2 years of doing postdoctoral research. And there, I really witnessed, the disparity between men and women in the academe, no, in the life sciences. It's probably maybe only about 20% of women, no, are the research investigators or the heads of the laboratories or professors, no, in the field of the life sciences. And I think that's mainly for many different reasons, no. In terms of experiencing any challenges to STEM in the US, I haven't had any bad experience, mainly because my mentors were very supportive of me, when I was, starting out my career as a PhD student, as a postdoctoral fellow. Although I did encounter one bad experience with a lab mate who ended up not joining the lab anyway because he told me that why am I asking him to do things, or why does he have to answer phone calls? Kasi there was a lab phone, diba? And why does he have to keep on answering phone calls that were for me, and I shouldn't be ordering him because I'm just a woman. So this was from a mainlander, Chinese mainlander, and I guess in certain countries there are still beliefs like that. And then, of course, I had to tell my advisor about that experience, and he was very encouraging. And it ended up that Chinese guy left the lab, and I ended up staying in and doing my entire PhD in that lab. But we are very, very lucky again that here in the Philippines, there's hardly any cases like that. I think women are very play leadership roles. They play very prominent roles in the field of STEM here. It depends. Okay, so I think here in the Philippines, we could have more. I mean, I don't think enough is enough. I mean, it's probably 50% men and women. Why don't we push it to even having more women in the field, right? I think women have the natural talent of being good in the life sciences kasi kailangan there's a soft touch to the hands. You have to have gentle hands when you're doing the pipetting, I think women are inherently multitaskers. I think we're better at multitasking, and for one to be successful in the lab and, in several aspects of research, you have to be very good with multitasking. And I think women mostly are very, very good also in terms of planning. right? Forecasting, foresight. And those are the traits, that you need to become a good scientist. So the field is open. The field is very supportive of women who want to pursue a career in the life sciences. So I'd say, you know, let's keep it that way. Okay, so Wian is my undergraduate student. She did her undergraduate thesis in my laboratory, and then she also did her master's thesis in my laboratory. One of the most hardworking, smartest students that I've had the pleasure of mentoring. So essentially, the gene that we discovered that links stress, breast cancer, and disrupted circadian clocks is KLF9, right? We did not discover the gene. In fact, it's a gene that I was working on as a graduate student. But the discovery was that it plays a central role in linking all these three aspects of cancer, meaning hormones, stress hormones, how it affects breast cancer, how disrupted circadian rhythms affect breast cancer also, okay, and how it links all three, diba? Stress, circadian disruption, and breast cancer. So I had an idea of what KLF9 was doing, right? What its role was in the cell, but my studies previously was mainly focused on what KLF9 does in the brain, in your neuronal cells. Now, my lab actually is focused on hormone-related cancer. So that's breast cancer, which is mostly driven by estrogens, and then prostate cancer, which is driven by testosterone. So that's the main focus of my lab. One of the main focus of my lab is hormone-related cancers. So I just, Wian was asking me for a thesis project, and then I figured, KLF9, we don't know what it does in the breast. It's known to be an anti-tumor. It's known to have anti-tumorigenic properties. It's known to be regulated in a circadian manner, meaning it oscillates, right, with the light and dark cycle. And then it's known to be regulated by stress, right? So we then looked at that. So that was the initial hypothesis that, what happens with the expression of KLF9 when you in normal versus breast tissue, when you hit the breast cancer cells with stress hormones, and all that. And we were very lucky in that we found that in normal breast tissue or breast cells, memory cells, KLF9 expression actually oscillates, right? So it goes down, it oscillates with the light dark cycle, but in advanced and metastatic breast cancer, you lose that oscillation. You lose that oscillatory pattern of KLF9 expression. And then we found that KLF9 actually functions as anti-tumorigenic agent, right? So it prevents the growth of tumors, it prevents the spread of tumors, and then it is regulated by stress hormones, So those are the major findings of that paper. And I mean, commendable effort by my student. She did most of the experiment. So we came up, I suggested the project, she took it on her own and really did all the experiments with my guidance. And she finished her thesis in 2 years and got the paper out. Because of work, and maybe it might be for like shift workers, no. So everything kasi is triggered by light, right? Light doesn't have to be natural light, doesn't have to be the sun, but it can be just light within the room, no. So if you have an irregular work schedule, I think you just have to stick to make sure that you still stick to the 12-12 light dark cycle, okay? Like having outside light, no? So pwede naman, for example, you work at night, so at night you're exposed, there's light in your office, diba? And then during the day, when you go home and it's your time to rest, make sure that you turn off the lights. Parang i-reverse mo yung light dark cycle mo. But there just has to be proactive measures, no, to make sure that you still stick to that 12-hour light dark cycle, even if it's just an artificial setup that you do at home. Disruption or chronodisruption or disruption of your circadian rhythm, it's already accepted to be a risk factor for breast cancer. And through this work, we were able to demonstrate the molecular basis of why that is so, right? So bakit nga ba nagko-contribute yung circadian disruption sa breast cancer, di ba? So we answered how, we answered the mechanism of how it can do that. No? So that's the major contribution of this work, I think, is contributing to the body of knowledge, and it actually paves the way for further research in the field. Like, how do we identify other genes that are regulated in a circadian manner and can contribute to how breast cancer can develop or progress. And then I think more importantly, it emphasizes that a healthy lifestyle, meaning really trying to stick to your 12-hour light-dark cycle or to our normal circadian rhythm is important if we want to prevent or decrease the risk of women developing breast cancer. Because you have to understand that breast cancer or cancer in general, it's what you call as a disease of the genome, meaning several mutations in your genes have to happen before cancer can develop. If there's only one mistake, then your body or your cells have a natural way of fixing the mistake. So several mistakes have to happen, and for cancer to develop. So this is one possible mistake, that's brought about by the lifestyle, that contributes to breast cancer. And then if you add all the different mutagens that we're exposed to, by just not having a healthy lifestyle, then that could even accumulate, the mistakes accumulate, which increases your risk of developing breast cancer. I think that they just need to dream big and figure out what they want to do, what they're passionate about. And I don't think they have to worry about not knowing what they want to do, like at a very early stage, at a very young age, because I think that comes with experience, So try many different things, see what interests you, what you're passionate about, and then focus on that, work hard towards, achieving that goal of what you want to become. And then I think, with hard work, dedication, and I can't emphasize that enough, is hard work and choosing the right people, who will guide you to in reaching your goals is very important. And I think that they shouldn't limit themselves to the traditional roles that women are known to take, because in the Philippines, we are very lucky that we don't limit our women, or our young girls, to certain career paths or what path they should, or the traditional roles anymore. We're no longer limited to those traditional roles, and we can dream big and try to and aspire and try to do the work to get to reach those aspirations.